Live from the Valley, it's your host, former Miss USA, Nia Sanchez.
Hey, baby. Okay, welcome to the Hold My Crown podcast, where we dive into life, pageants, reality TV, parenting, and so much more. Join us for special guests from your favorite reality shows and some of my very good friends, other beauty queens. This is Hold My Crown.
Hold my crown.
Hello. Welcome to the Hold My Crown podcast. And I feel like today, for any of my OG subscribers from the YouTube world, it's also going to feel a little bit like a Chai Tea Tuesday. If you know, you know. If you don't, it's okay. You can be welcome to the club today. So in my former series, before I had a podcast, I would talk about anything and everything, kind of like I do here on the podcast, that I'm passionate about. But a lot of times we discussed the pageant world, and we discussed especially drama in the pageants. We would do reviews of Miss Universe and Miss USA and Miss Teen USA and all of that. So today in the podcast world, the Hold My Crown podcast, we are calling it a Crown Confessions. Now, normally on Crown Confessions, I am sharing my own stories of crazy and wild things that I experienced during my year as Miss USA. But today we are sharing the craziness that is in the pageant world right now with, for the first time ever in over 70 years of Miss USA and Miss Teen USA history, both title holders quit being Miss USA and Miss Teen USA. This has never happened before. And I mean, it's like mind-blowing. I was shocked when this happened. And I will tell you more. I'm going to open up more about like details and everything, but I have a relationship with Noelia, and this still caught me off guard. So that, I feel like that says something to how wild this situation is as a former Miss USA. And one thing I want to say, like this podcast is called Hold My Crown, where we kind of take off the perfect pageant patty crown and we keep it real and we keep it 100 about a variety of topics. And it seems that Noelia was not able to do the same during her year as Miss USA. And I'll link it in the show notes below. But if you listen back to the podcast that we did with Morgan, she was my first title holder interview last year's Miss USA. She shared that she definitely felt the pressure of being perfect. And it was not necessarily something that someone else put on her, but she wanted people to come to the Miss USA account and page, which she was in charge of at the time, and feel a sense of normalcy and stability, even though that's far from what she experienced. So if you want to know more about her episode and what she shared about her wild year as Miss USA, you can definitely listen to that podcast episode. I feel like that whole episode should have been called Crown Confessions because it was a lot of confessions. She was spilling a lot of tea. So today we are diving into the drama and the craziness that has been happening with Miss USA and the organization. And as many of you know, if you follow me on social media and here on this podcast and on YouTube, I am a hopelessly optimistic person. So I'm going to preface this by saying I still have some hope for the organization. At the same time, what I'm hoping for, I'll share shortly, needs to happen sooner rather than later. But we'll get into that after we start off by reading the statements from Noelia and Uma Sophia and break those down just a little bit further. If you don't know, I think you do know if you're listening to this podcast and you know me, I'm a former Miss USA. So I've been in similar shoes to what Noelia is going through as Miss USA, but different organizations. We talked about that in my episode, The Trump Era, where we were talking about my time and what it was like being Miss USA in the season of life that I was in during the quote unquote Trump era, where it was owned by NBC Universal and Trump, versus the new stages that they've gone through, 2 new stages, and now an additional new stage with Layla Rose being the owner. We'll get into all that later, but let's start off by reading the statements from Noelia and Uma Sophia. So, Noelia's statement, and bear with me, it's a little long, but it's important that we listen to everything she has to say, same with Uma Sophia, and read through it together. In life, I strongly value the importance of making decisions that feel best for you and your mental health. As individuals, we grow through experiencing different things in life that lead us to learning more about ourselves. My journey as Miss USA has been incredibly meaningful, representing Utah with pride, and later, Miss USA at Miss Universe. Sadly, I have made the very tough decision to resign from the title of Miss USA 2023. I am grateful for the love and support of the fans, old and new, my family, my friends, my coaches, former state and local directors, and my darling beloved Miss Teen USA, Uma Sophia. Lifelong friendships and connections that I had the opportunity to make along the way while attending different events and competing at state pageants. Miss USA and Miss Universe are invaluable things that I will forever be grateful for. Every time someone asked me what my favorite part of Miss USA was, I would always share with them how I loved getting to work with Smile Train, being a fervent advocate for anti-bullying, dating violence awareness, prevention, immigration rights and reform, and shedding light on my roots as the first Venezuelan American woman to win Miss USA. Never could I have imagined the journey that my childhood dream would take me on. Constant and consistent hard work and dedication all led me to where I am today. And I hope that over the last 7 years of competing in pageantry and sharing my journey with you all is something that inspires you to never give up on your dreams, whatever they may be. Eternal gratitude fills my heart when I think about the platform I was given to make a difference. The feeling of achieving a lifelong dream and connecting with people all over the world, just as I said I would do on the Miss USA stage. Deep down, I know that this is just the beginning of a new chapter for me. And my hope is that I continue to inspire others to remain steadfast, prioritize your mental health, advocate for yourself and others by using your voice, and never be afraid of what the future holds, even if it feels uncertain. How I wish I could hug all of you. I love you all with all of my heart and always will. Peace and love, Noelia Voigt. Let's talk about Noelia's statement really quick before moving on to Uma Sophia's. So she's communicating here that she's prioritizing her mental health. She's also kind of talking about using your voice. And then if you go back, and there are many people that have discovered this, the way that certain things are capitalized in her statement, it says, I am silenced. And if you're watching this on YouTube, we might be able to show a video or a photo of like the highlighted where you can see the letters that are in capitals saying, I am silenced. And it's so unfortunate. Now, cut to, it's been, by the time you listen to this, over a week since Noelia resigned as Miss USA. And we now know, I didn't know beforehand, but we now know that there is an NDA that has been signed, and you sign your Miss USA contract when you become a state title holder. So when you win your state title, that contract that you sign is the same thing that applies all the way up to Miss USA. I believe it's a different one for Miss Universe. I may be wrong, but there's an NDA in that. There is also an NDA for all the state directors. I have a major issue with that, and so does everybody else in the pageant community. If you go on social media, most of the state title holders that are fellow title holders that competed with Noelia are calling for her NDA to be released. I don't think that will happen, unfortunately, unless Noelia has an attorney that can find a way around it. But usually these are pretty ironclad. NDAs are pretty ironclad and locked in. Let's go back to my time as Miss USA. If you've heard my former Crown Confession episodes, those are probably things that a different organization might have wanted to be in an NDA. I talked about almost getting fired from being Miss USA, crying hysterically during my year as Miss USA. I talked about, even on the show, on the reality show that I'm on, The Valley, I talked about being put in an uncomfortable situation with Trump's friends at Miss Universe. So those things I was never forced to keep quiet because it was my experience, and I can share all the good and all the bad of my time as Miss USA. So while I was Miss USA, although it was an incredible year, and I share about that all the time, and I'm so grateful for all the experiences I had. At the same time, I had some hard times. I experienced depression as Miss USA, but I'm allowed to talk about it. And so Noelia, maybe she is dealing with some really heavy mental health things, but they happened during her year as Miss USA while she was under contract. She's not allowed to even share those things, even if they might help other people learn and grow and seek help because she's sharing something from her year as Miss USA. So it's really unfortunate that she's in an NDA. I do hope that the organization releases her. And this is my little piece of hope that I feel like could get me in trouble with the pageant community a little bit, but I'm entitled to my own feelings and my own opinions. And this is how I feel. I think that right now, still, when this episode is being released, there's still a very small window where we don't know the other side. We don't know the organization side, the Miss USA organization side. They haven't really made any statements. They sent like a farewell message on the Miss USA Instagram page to Noelia. But right now, I think maybe they have another week at the most. Okay, wait. So from when I recorded this to now, when the show is coming out, this episode is coming out, new things are being revealed every single day. If anything, the USA organization has maybe a few days to make a statement. To kind of get ahead of the bad press that they're getting. And I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Maybe there was good intentions behind the NDA. I don't know. But I do think they can release the NDA if they choose to. And I think even if there is something bad, get ahead of it and learn from it. This is what I would hope. I would hope that, they learn that the way that things are being run right now are not set up where it supports the title holder's mental health, and they look at it and take accountability and make change. That's a way that an organization can stay intact. They can grow. They can get better with owning up and saying, I'm sorry for the way things were. I now realize, seeing everything that has happened, that it's not a place that the title, the way that things are run, did not help the title holder have a healthy mental state. And I want to do better for the next girl. I am all about uplifting and empowering. This is, Layla, or as the organization, we are all about uplifting and empowering these young women. And we fell short, but we won't do that again. We are setting things in place to make sure that it is an incredible year and that their mental health is supported. I shared recently on my podcast and other podcasts that I've been guests on and interviews that I've done this last few weeks, saying that when I was Miss USA and I started experiencing depression, there was a psychiatrist on call at any point in time that I could talk to, and I could say, I want 3 appointments this week. That's how bad I'm struggling. And the Miss Universe organization would do it, and they would foot the bill. And they didn't even give it a second thought. They said, we are here for you. We support you, whatever you need, to make sure that your mental health is taken care of. So that's the leadership of Paula Shugart, who's no longer with the Miss Universe organization, Esther Swan, Emily, my manager. And if that's not in place, there's grace, a little bit of grace in a time like this, because this is the first year that Layla has had this has owned Miss USA. So it's like, okay, we got it wrong, but we're going to fix it and we're going to get it right. Things go wrong when there's new owners that haven't done it before, but we got to get things right. So that's that. Let's read Uma Sophia's statement. She has a different point of view that she shares in her statement. And then I'll share a little bit about just my relationship with Noelia and what I know and my relationship with Uma Sophia. Okay. Uma Sophia's statement. There are no beautiful surfaces without a terrible depth. That is the beginning of her statement, starting with a quote. This is her actual statement. After months of grappling with this decision, I have made the choice to resign from the title of Miss Teen USA 2023. I am grateful for all the support of my family, my state directors, my sister queens, and the fans who have cheered me on since I won my state title. I will always look back on my time as Miss New Jersey Teen USA fondly, and the experience of representing my state as a first-generation Mexican Indian American at the national level was fulfilling in itself. After careful consideration, I've decided to resign as I find my personal values no longer fully align with the direction of the organization. However, I will continue my relentless advocacy for education and acceptance with my multilingual children's book, The White Jaguar, and with the organizations that I have had the privilege to work with long before I started competing, namely the Lotus Petal Foundation and the Bridge of Books Foundation. Ultimately, working with these incredible nonprofits and seeing the firsthand impact that The White Jaguar, kids and adults I've read it to, is what forged my legacy. This work has always been my true purpose. I look forward to the rest of the year as I finish off 11th grade and as part of the National Honor Society and start the college application process, knowing that my academic career has been defined by my hard work and my hard work alone. I am also looking forward to pursuing a new writing project which will become available to subscribers of the Fan Behavior. Most importantly, thank you to those who support me for who I am and have always been, not for who I've momentarily become. It has been a privilege, Uma Sophia. Wow. You guys, what maturity she has. And I also commend her on plugging all the things that she's passionate about, her book and the advocacy work that she does, and that she's still in school and going to be working towards going to college. Like, she is an incredible young woman. I think this was very well written, very well said. And, you know, it's unfortunate that she does not align with the direction of the organization at this time. And I know for her and Noelia, these titles are dreams that came true. If you listen to my podcast with Noelia, yes, she's been competing for 7 years to get to where she's at, but she's had the dream of becoming Miss USA and being in this pageant world for more than 10 years. Like, this has been a passion of hers. So it's so unfortunate that she felt the need to step away, and same with Uma Sophia. I send them so much love, and I know that this is just the beginning of an incredible journey for them. Before we wrap up this episode, I want to share a little bit about my relationship with Noelia, and I want to quickly touch on the hate and like vitriol, how do we say it, that has been coming for the new Miss USA and what might come to whomever, if anyone, takes the title of Miss Teen USA. So we'll get into that in just a moment. Welcome back from that quick little break. All right. We're going to talk about my relationship with Noelia and Uma Sophia and the like hate and vitriol that has been coming for the new Miss USA and would potentially come for whomever, if anyone, becomes a new Miss Teen USA. So I love Uma Sophia, but I don't know her. I hope I get to meet her at some point in New York City when I head out that way. I see she's been doing lots of appearances already in New York. And I want to get into my relationship with with Noelia in just a moment. But saying the New York appearances things makes me think about, why has Noelia and Uma Sophia been doing more high profile, incredible media and like appearances and events in the 1 week since they gave up their title than they were doing their whole year as Miss USA? It's mind-blowing. But I also feel like I can see it on them. I don't know if you can see it, everybody watching their social media. There is this like lightness to Noelia, and I feel like her light was being dimmed a little bit, and now she just seems so light and radiant. She's doing all these incredible appearances. I hope she continues to do so. As of most recently on her social media, I saw her share an Insta story saying that she is at home with family and loved ones. She was spending time outdoors, and she said she's going to be starting the process of healing. So that is first and foremost the priority. But beyond that, I hope that she also can continue to do these incredible appearances because she deserves it. And I hope she gets to do that. I think this is just the beginning of her career. Okay, my relationship with Noelia. She's an incredible young woman that I have never met in person. And I don't want to get too much into it because you can go back and listen to our podcast and hear about how we met met through social media the first time while she was competing for Miss USA. I had just had some babies and I wasn't able to attend Miss USA, but I sent a message to her saying, good luck, you're incredible. And normally I connect with as many girls as I can. I want to support the entire class and just be there for them. But I had not even had a moment to do that. And then I reached out to Noelia quickly before she competed and she ended up winning. So she just has this light that is undeniable about her. And then ever since then, she became a part of the Miss USA Sisterhood. So we have FaceTimed, we have done our podcast, we have called, we have text. And I just, as a Miss USA sister, I'm there for my sisters. We are now family immediately. When you win that title, you're a part of the family. Welcome. So I've just been able to be there with her through a lot. And I know that she definitely had some frustrated moments during her time as Miss USA, as we all do. Like I had frustrated moments too. It's just so unfortunate that she can't talk about it. And I don't think it's my place to like share anything because it's her experience. And I'm sure I don't even know the details of it, because even with my close friends when I was Miss USA, I might share overall like, oh, this is just really getting me down, but I didn't go into the nitty gritty. So I'm here for her still and love her. And hopefully next time she's in LA or if we happen to be in New York at the same time, we can actually connect and meet and hang out in person because she is absolutely incredible. Speaking of the Miss USA Sisterhood, let's get right into Savannah, the new Miss USA, which hopefully no one listening to this podcast, but definitely people out there have been so mean to the point of death threats. You guys, can we take a deep breath? This is the pageant world, okay? This is like, how are we getting so vicious and mean to young women? Savannah, I've already spoken to her, and I know that she did not take the title for any selfish reasons. If this pageant is going to go on, there needs to be a Miss USA. She's now part of the sisterhood. So for me, I'm like, she's one of my sisters. Don't mess with my family, please. Savannah was like unfairly put into an incredibly hard position of, needing, like someone needs to be in this role and needs to step up, and she's ready to do that. But there's so much hate and backlash that comes with it. If not her, it's going to be someone else. And at the end of the day, having that title as part of like who you are, there are benefits that come from it. Even if you don't have a great year as Miss USA, you can have that as just part of like, it's like on your checklist. Like I am a Miss USA, something that can help launch your career. So I don't fault her. I do hope she has an opportunity to speak with Noelia. I don't know if she had an opportunity to talk to Noelia in advance before making this decision. But I hope at some point they can, because we are all part of the Miss USA Sisterhood, no matter how messy and crazy these times are right now. And then moving on to the teen really quickly before we wrap up. Stephanie Skinner, the first runner-up. She didn't take the title. Whoa. I also can't imagine how hard of a decision that was. And I wonder, did the whole teen class get together and say, we're not going to take the title, no one's going to take it? Or did she make this decision on her own? I'm not going to read her statement, but she wrote a beautiful statement and we can link to her. You can just go find it on her Instagram. I thought she would be an incredible Miss Teen USA for 3 months. Gosh, she seems so sweet from her social media. But she made the decision that was right for her. And that's the thing. Savannah made the decision that was right for her. And the teen made the decision. And Stephanie made the decision that was right for her. I truly don't think either of those decisions are wrong. It's what's right for them. So I send so much love to Stephanie. I don't know who the next teen will be or if anyone will take it at all. And I really hope that Savannah has a positive 3-month experience as Miss USA. She will be crowning the next Miss USA. And I hope that like overall the organization is taking this as like a learning experience to grow and become better. So that's what I'm going to say about all this craziness. If you have questions, drop it in the like comments, because I'm going to post a little clip from this episode and we can do a follow-up, or we can do a mini like 15-minute episode answering your questions or your thoughts, or even just addressing your thoughts. You might say, this is how I feel. Whatever. Okay, cool. Let's talk about it. This podcast for me is a conversation. It's not just me chatting at you or me and Daniel. It's a conversation. So let's keep the conversation going on social media with respect and kindness, and we can continue the conversation if you want to. Woo, y'all, today was intense. A little Chai Tea Tuesday, Crown Confessions, Hold My Crown podcast episode. Wow. But thank you so much for hanging out with me and sharing your thoughts in the comments below. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. I would love a 5-star review if you like this podcast, and a little comment. Drop me a comment because it's so fun to read them, and I feel like it's a different way for me to connect with you. So thanks again. See you next week. Sending you lots of love. Bye.
Yay Networks.